that fake enthusiasm. Yeah!
Yeah, bring that fake enthusiasm.
Live from your ESG-free Trump account.
Yeah,
Woo!
there's no ESG in that Trump account.
It's a Business Pants Friday show here at August 21st Studios, featuring analyst Hole Matt Moscardi. On today's weekly wrap-up, the SEC is busy washing its hair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of hair.
Goodliest of the week gets renamed Mackenzie's Scottiest of the week.
Yeah.
And L3Harris Numbskulls.
Oh, there's a lot of those. Do we have to do all of them, or is it just like an overview of them?
That's the show.
That's the entire show?
Well, I mean, we were just looking at one of our kind of competitors, and I see a lot of AI. Why can't we just have AI do everything like everyone else does?
Everybody just says AI, 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 AI.
They flood everything with like clearly AI generated content. Like, why don't we just do that for this show? Where's the button?
I don't know why we don't say AI enough.
We're too Gen X, I guess. Our show today is being sponsored by AI.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah! No, it's actually Free Flow Analytics at freeflowanalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free. When does it actually launch?
September 1, I heard.
Oh, cool.
It's going to flip on. It's going to turn on.
There's a big picture of Eric Schmidt on the head of it right now.
That's not the selling point we want to talk about for our sponsor.
I see zines. I see all of our tagged headlines. I see shows. I see a lot of data.
What I have on my version of what's up for Free Flow Analytics is L3Harris. I'm just looking at L3Harris. I'm looking at the scenario model of L3Harris that says there's an actual scenario model, and it actually says CEO misconduct allegations. And when you run it, it says weak. This board may struggle with this event. So
it did struggle. All right, let's get to the show. Right. Story of the week. Come on.
Oh, that's right. There's more.
Let's get right into it. Let's just go right to L3Harris.
No. Da. Yeah, story of the week. Let's do it.
I mean, this might be like sort of the most classic version of this dumb old story they keep telling at corporations. I mean,
Is this like the hero's journey for corporations? Like, have CEO, have misconduct allegation, don't say what it is, fire CEO.
Yeah, so... and everyone knows what it is because there's a track record of it, and
because it's the only thing that happens.
Yeah, L3Harris has they haven't fired Christopher Kubasik as chair and CEO, but they've gotten rid of him. They couldn't even fire him. They had to make a deal with him where they let him keep all of his equity and all of his pay, but they don't say they're firing him with cause.
I thought
although clearly there's no more
speed vest his options or something. That was something.
There's no more with cause than this one, and you're right. The company really hasn't told us why, other than the fact that he broke their code of conduct. But the story seems pretty clear from the press that he had a inappropriate relationship with a subordinate, and this is. One of the reasons why we know this might be true is that he did this before.
Yeah.
He did this at Lockheed Martin.
But he learned his lesson at Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, forced to resign there after an ethics investigation confirmed that he had a close personal relationship with a subordinate employee. In fact, this is according to the Wall Street Journal, women at L3Harris have shared concern about his behavior for years before he was let go, saying, the woman said, avoid being alone with him and be careful on the corporate jet. I mean, this is like old-fashioned pre-Me Too heinousness, right?
Wow. Avoid being alone. Don't get on the corporate jet with him.
Like, I thought we were... I know people deride wokeism. They deride Me Too, and they chuckle at civil rights now, but the lasting impact of Me Too, to me, one of the most important lasting impacts of Me Too is that there are a lot of men who, now they'll complain about it when they're in a group with other men, but they have stopped themselves from horrible behavior, a lot of them, because they know they might be watched now, right? They're slightly worried that someone might call them out, and even that alone is a victory. So, but not with this guy, Chris Kubasik. He just keeps floating down the road. Just keeps getting there. Yeah.
Fun fact about him, I did read that he was on a path to be the potential CEO at Lockheed Martin before the ethics investigation. And
So he never actually worked there.
He worked at Lockheed. Yeah, he worked at Lockheed.
But he was on the so he was on the succession path.
He was on some sort of succession path,
and they found boo-boo.
And they found an ethics violation, and they ousted him. And the next CEO, because it was Robert Stevens when he was working there at Lockheed, the next CEO was Marilyn Hewson, the woman. They had to bring in a woman.
Right.
I don't know if they brought him in because this guy had ethics violations and it was like a rampant sexual harassment culture and they were like, we just need to change it up, or not. But it's just one of those fun facts that whenever you find some sexual harassment, you put a woman in charge afterwards. That's always a good move.
What I love is how the press is handling it too. Like the Wall Street Journal, which is covering it, I give them credit for that. But they have a story that says, "Why do boards keep giving misbehaving CEOs second chances?" ? Like what? Why do you have to pose it as a question? Like why don't we get a little bit more aggressive?
Like the average vote for these directors is 95% plus.
Yeah.
So. Why do boards, or why do investors not care what boards do?
But why don't we be a little bit more like direct and say like, let's cut this out. These corporations should be ashamed. This is ridiculous. All right, that's the top story. That you have some details to add later. So you want to just leave it at that?
Yeah. There's board stuff later. Yeah.
Second story of the week involves the trial with Meta. Meta faces a $1.4 trillion threat that could mean turning in the keys and walking away.
That's the headline, yeah.
But the stakes of the case reach across tech. So the trial involves a coalition of 29 state attorneys general in a unified case against Meta. And essentially the idea in a nutshell is this is not about the content. It's about the fact that you guys rigged up a massive addiction scheme. You're basically drug dealers peddling to our children. It's baked into how you run the company. You knew about it. You don't care. And now we're coming after you. That's right?
Fabulous.
In a nutshell?
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew, the companies do, but didn't everyone know for like the last 5 to 10 years?
This is
and we're still fucking using it?
This is basically, I have two major pet peeves. One is the people who don't use their turn signals anymore. And the second one is all the people who continuously use all of this nonsense, like Twitter, Instagram, and yet they whine and they complain. They're ruining the world, but they can't quit it. I don't get the can't quit part of it.
There's a mismatch in your pet peeves. One is like a giant social ill. The other one is like the guy who doesn't turn.
I gotta tell you, as a proud New Englander, my state used to be part of Massachusetts, and I have my mom is from Boston, and my Harvard. This news that more than half of their endowment is tied up into Elon Musk's company, it was heartbreaking for me this week. He represents the exact opposite of basically everything that four-year universities.
Money.
I know, but it's
money.
Like it to me. It's basically I feel completely betrayed.
You're gonna lose the money.
Completely betrayed by this.
You're just betting on Elon Musk being some genius founder. It's not. He's not.
Are they not paying attention to our shows? I thought all of Harvard listened to us. All they have to do is go to the new platform, look at all of the. I mean, really, like we're not the only ones who track Elon Musk headlines. Everyone does. I mean. Anyway, can we move on?
You got it. You tangented. I was talking about turn signals.
I'll give you a couple other Meta headlines and we'll move on. States accuse Meta of targeting children for Facebook, Instagram addiction. The young ones are the best ones. That's a quote from the company. Meta whistleblower told the jury the company took a don't ask, don't tell approach to kid safety. And then another quote about how Mark Zuckerberg was handling all this: harvest their data and hide the truth from the public. So this is all.
But you missed the best headline.
Go ahead, tell me.
There was a headline about how teen boys are wearing the Meta glasses into school to harass teen girls.
Well,
and filming it.
Yeah, I guess this is another new problem that Mark Zuckerberg has created, and it's not just harassing people. It's also like stealing movies. They're just like causing havoc everywhere.
Everything they've taken away. Like they've enabled. It's like a middle school man boy enabling other middle school boys, but actual middle school boys, to be the absolute worst versions of themselves with no accountability.
How does a middle school boy even afford?
Anymore.
How do they even afford
When I was
those?
in middle school,
Yeah.
I mean, we harassed girls, right? Like you'd pull hair or make jokes or whatever.
Yeah, we harassed. Everyone was harassed.
We did. We harassed everyone.
Teachers,
I harassed all my friends. We harassed the teachers.
Friends,
we harassed
parents,
girls, boys.
bus drivers.
It was much more equal opportunity harassment. But in middle school, like a lot of flirting is basically harassment because we don't know how to do it. We're morons.
Right. Yeah.
But what Zuckerberg has given us is the ability to do it, not just go through the process of being a moron and growing up and figuring it out and then apologizing basically for the rest of your life for your shitty behavior as a teenager. He's given you the ability to live stream it, get likes for it, and not ever learn that there's a human way to be. Like literally, he's removed humanity because these teen idiots are doing the worst possible shit, filming it and getting likes for it. It's horrible. Thanks, Mark.
There was an article this week. It wasn't necessarily about Mark Zuckerberg. It was in Salon.com, talking about they want to bring back the corporate death penalty. So there really is a thing called judicial dissolution. So it's basically a scenario where the government, hates a company enough because it's like there's so much corruption, or it's causing an incredible amount of damage to stakeholders that they can take away their charter. Now, what a perfect scenario!
Fabulous.
I mean,
do it now, right now. What's Mark? What are you waiting for with Mark?
Not to get too serious here, because I know no one wants to hear us be serious, but is there going to be? You think there'll ever be a scenario like that? Are we ever going to step in and just no? Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
so it only happens with antitrust. That's the closest you get, where they break up Ma Bell and make three companies that eventually just all combine later anyway.
Yeah,
that's the closest they really get.
And the consumer isn't really helped.
And the consumer gets screwed no matter what. You ever checked your cell phone bill? It's bananas.
Let's move on. That's the second big story. Let's hope this. This could be a monumental turning point in our history, or it might not. Unfortunately, Americans they hate things, but they're waiting for other people to take it away from them because they can't take it away from themselves.
They hate change. They don't want anyone to tell them what to do.
Okay, so that's
and then you tell them and then you do something like this and hopefully sue Mark out of existence, which is never going to happen, but pretend it did. And then you actually are like, wow, this is really refreshing.
Yeah.
I like it better.
Third story of the week. I think you might also be covering this as well.
Yeah.
SEC says it will stop responding to no action requests entirely. I mean, that happens just at all.
Just entirely.
Do you have
going to do it?
Are you going to add something to this later?
I am, but you should just give the gist of what it means, like what it's about.
They basically plan to. What I just said, they plan to stop responding to no action requests. So when a company is trying to exclude a shareholder proposal.
Yeah, that's the process, right?
Yeah. So last year, the SEC was sending out form letters saying we don't care. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but
I think
we don't care.
Said that.
Do what you want. We're pro management because even though we're pro shareholder when we don't want to care about stakeholders. But when it comes to these scenarios, we're anti-shareholder and we're pro-management, right? Because it's very confusing.
The SEC is very confusing. It's very confusing.
But this is clearly part of a. So now that we this is what we hinted at last year, is that this is clearly the beginning of a slippery slope, right? I mean, we knew it was going to kind of start careening towards this. Luckily, in America, there are such a thing called election cycles, and Congress changes, the presidency changes. So I don't know. Maybe the SEC will be full of different commissioners soon that will change this. But what also happened this week, or was it last week, is that they've even stripped the reporting requirement for beneficial ownership for companies, where they don't have to reveal all the like subsidiaries and tax shelters and all that crap. Like
yeah.
Well,
thank God.
This is part of that slope, right? They're doing everything they can to protect founders and management, right?
It's very confusing.
All right. Yeah. That's the third story. And finally, there's just a crescendo of stories on this topic. We're just talking about Mark Zuckerberg. I can't quite, maybe you have a more poetic way of helping me understand why, but the America has sort of gathered around to hate one thing from both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are,
blue and
how
red
old
states,
you are.
And that's AI data center. I'll give you the headline. AI data center outrage is showing up everywhere, from ads to election. I captured 15 headlines alone quite easily. And there's so many more. And I'll give you some like examples. As AI data centers spread, pressure.
I like that you break into the Boston accent when you say data center.
I don't mean
AI
to.
data center.
Pressure mounts to share profits. The data centers industry's PR blitz is backfiring. Politicians who once championed data centers are now bashing them. The only person who seems to still love data centers is the person that everyone in America is starting to loathe, thank God, is Donald Trump. He's like the only one who's still kind of on the side.
He's left, yeah.
Although we get the feeling that the GOP, they still love them, but they're getting uncomfortable because even their constituents don't love them. But it even got so crazy with all these headlines that, listen to this one. Bad news for Jason Kelsey. He's like one of these. He's like the brother-in-law of Taylor Swift,
yeah.
right? He's one of these dopey football players.
Yeah.
Who are somehow accepted because they married into Taylor Swift family. He wanted people to mail their their urine, to data centers, and the headline said Postal Service rules say you shouldn't mail pee to data centers. You should not.
I like
but this is how crazy
the headline clarified that.
Yeah, this is how crazy this populist movement is getting. You now have like dopey middle America football players hating data centers, and it also got so far that this headline. I'll end on this one and let you chime in. Data center hysteria is the new woke. They're calling it the new woke, but it represents like 80% of America at this point. So I don't really even know what woke is anymore, if that's the new woke.
That one was one of my headliniest of the week. But I'm just going to I'll just do it now. The argument, that's an op-ed piece in the Indianapolis Star.
Yeah, I read that. Indy Star, yeah.
And the author is arguing that when there's... He basically defined woke. It's the first definition I've ever heard.
Go ahead.
What is woke?
Go ahead.
He said, when there's vast agreement about something and you get yelled at for not agreeing with the vast agreement, that's what woke is.
Which is not at all what woke is.
No, it's not. But he actually, like, I read a few of his columns. He doesn't seem either conservative or
he's kind of
liberal.
In the middle,
he's kind of middle. He's kind of like clickbaity sometimes,
sure.
But he seems very middle of the road. But it's a great definition because that's how people react, right? Like, that's the woke reaction. Like, oh, you're being woke is, we all agree slavery was bad. I don't agree. You're woke for everyone thinking slavery's bad.
He's equating woke to something that used to be referred to as political correctness.
Right.
Yeah, which is also a make believe term.
And now it's moved into this realm of everyone agrees data centers are bad. Well, I don't agree. That means data center people saying they're bad are woke about data centers.
I gotta say, like I
like that it's a definition. I like it's something.
I didn't expect this. There's all kinds of headlines now. Like they're like Gwyneth Paltrow is throwing a party for Sam Altman, and they're laughing like, oh, the two of the most hated people in the world, or of course they're combining. But it's like, I just didn't see this coming. I didn't see this being the epicenter of a populist movement against something. I mean, clearly it's against the corporocracy, against the oligarchy. It's against, I don't know what it's against.
I think,
is it like a Luddite revolution against?
No,
what is it?
I think you're like turning it into like a bigger thing.
Okay, what is it then?
What it is hyper local. The reason why it's so, like, you can get on this train because you hate the climate politics of it, right? Like the fact that these are horrible for climate change, they're resource sucking, they're like the systemic issues around it. You can get on it for the AI is ruining the world issues for it. But the reason why conservatives are on this is it's hyper local, like they're in your backyard.
Right. They represent it's like the elite. Is it because it's representing the elite?
It's literally like a bunch of billionaires building a massive structure.
And the community's not going to profit off of it.
In my town, we get nothing from it. You're taking our resources. We get shitty jobs.
But this has been going on for decades with like big box stores as an example.
Oh, they hated it. Yes, they hated it. But everybody agreed on those issues. Like that was the big mistake. When you need is one thing when it's like Mark Zuckerberg in some walled ivory tower who doesn't need data centers in your town, who just sends you an app to your phone. It's passive and whatever. This is like, that's in my fucking backyard. I can see that giant piece of shit, right? Like, get out of my town. It's a get off my lawn. It's great. I love it. I love it.
All right.
So my options here for story of the week. L3 ousts the CEO. Meta's $1.4 trillion potential liability. SEC says it will stop responding to no action in AI data center outrage. The data center outrage is going on ad nauseum, I think. I think it's going to go right through.
It's peaking now because it's becoming a very clear part of the midterms.
It's election cycle. Yeah. The SEC definitely no one ever anywhere would ever think something the SEC did was the story of the week.
Well, maybe some nerds at Free Float.
Which leaves me Meta and L3. I'm going to go with Meta's thing is going to keep going, right?
Yeah, it's got to be L3.
It's got to be L3.
Because this is our wheelhouse. I mean, it's just silliness.
I'm going to come back to it too anyway. Right. Well, let's do a modicum of goodliest things. Like we have almost no goodliest this week. I was gone last week, and I do feel like there's nothing good in the headlines this week.
And even when I pick Mackenzie Scott, I love what she does, but I hate that people have amassed such wealth, and I hate that her wealth comes from Jeff Bezos. I didn't even. One headline I didn't even tell you was this one. Amazon is buying rare books and destroying them
I saw that
to train
headline.
its AI models.
I fucking lost my mind by myself.
The team that destroys these rare books, their logo is a dinosaur holding a book. Isn't that clever?
You're so clever. Readers are ancient. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, Mackenzie Scott, I only picked this one because of the last part of this headline, which is to me by far the most important part and why I love Mackenzie Scott. Mackenzie Scott gave California public education $461 million, which is amazing.
That's a lot.
But then and let the recipients decide how to spend every dollar. Yeah. This is important. You don't see this very often. I have heard countless tales. There's a art center that just opened down the road from me. This incredible art center at a public university. And one thing I heard was all these stupid stories about the family that donated this had so many rules about what could be there, what couldn't be there, and the size of his name on the bill, all these stupid rules. And so I give Mackenzie Scott credit for not pretending like she's an expert and she understands education and telling them how to spend it and all that.
Well, forget that. It's like Mackenzie Scott clearly doesn't care if her name is on anything. She doesn't. She's not doing it. But most of the people, my guess is like you open up a new performing arts center or a new library and you want a bench with your name on it. You want your name on a plaque above the thing. You want to be called the.
We joke when we drive by because the person's name, their last name, is twice the size of the Center for Performance Arts below. It's twice the size.
That's but you're donating it to put your fucking name on it.
That
like
craziness.
It's just a dick war, right?
Yeah,
And
you're right.
Mackenzie Scott has made it not that. And
Yeah.
and the fact is that like the vanity projects of these billionaires, she donates $461 million and doesn't care. Like about there's no follow-up necessary. Just spend it the way you need to spend it. Jeff Bezos spent $7 billion to buy Liverpool and like demanded that he gets right of first purchase if somebody if you want to like the majority stake wants to sell. Like
meanwhile, Donald Trump is
fucking horrible.
Putting his name on the Kennedy Arts Center. He's the latest one I read is that there was a warship that is about to be named after a soldier in World War II. Who was not trained on this. I think he was like a cook. He was like a black military man who grabbed a gun during the attack at Pearl Harbor and shot down planes, despite the fact that he had no knowledge of how to use it. Yeah. And they were going to, of course, name this boat after him because he's a hero. And Trump wants to get rid of that name and name it after himself.
Yeah.
So that, in a nutshell, that's where we're at.
That's it. That's what we're talking about. I don't like any of it. I hate it.
What's yours?
You turned the goodliest of the week into something I hate.
Okay, what's yours?
Mine is this headline: Andreessen Horowitz focus of DOJ probe over board directors.
Yeah. Do you want to go into a little bit what that's about?
So the Department of Justice is looking at the fact that Andreessen Horowitz has partners of the firm. This is a venture capital firm. They invest in hundreds of companies, and partners of the firm sit on the boards of these companies. And two firms where they invested in, they have people on the boards of, and one of them pivoted into sort of a semi-competitor of the other one.
Sure.
And that is not allowed. It's actually not allowed that you sit on the board. So a person can't sit on the board of two competitors. They're extending that to say a venture capitalist can't sit on the board.
So when are they going to audit? They should use our database and audit the entire...
That's what I loved about it.
Right?
Like there are so many fucking instances in where these directors... It's not like many direct competitors, but these companies list their peers in compensation analysis, right? Like, so as part of the proxy, they have a whole discussion of compensation. They list the peer companies and they say, these are the peers from which we compete for talent, specifically executive talent. They say that, right?
Yeah.
Those peers are usually set as make-believe sets of peers. Like they're not real peers. They're just like, this is who we want. We want to be at least in the median. We never pick a peer set where our executive is going to get underpaid. It never happens that way. They pick it very specifically for compensation, but it's a list of companies.
It's called collusion.
Yeah, it's a list of companies that gives you a sense of like, oh, well, they're identifying their peers. And then if you look at who sits on the board, like a quarter of the time, it's the same people. Like they sit on the boards of those companies.
This is this is the thing about, again, once again, like trying to understand the American psyche. We will get bent out of shape if like a football player, if there's collusion with a football player and he doesn't get signed to a team or some kind of a collusion with the owners. But you're right. In this scenario, something that people are getting more upset about is the astronomical CEO pay. But the reason why it's so high is the exact thing that you just pointed out, because there's collusion on the boards of directors who sit on multiple boards.
And who are CEOs often.
Yes, and sit on compensation committees and ensure that they get raises every year. And they get more and more and more and more and more.
And it's like, it's not that hard of an investigation, Department of Justice. Like, we actually have a data set that basically shows you where everybody sits and how much, like they defer to the CEOs. And like,
what do you make of this?
I love this headline mostly because.
How does the DOJ get to this though? What do you make of this?
Well, what I love about it is that they're going to lose this investigation.
But how does the Trump era DOJ even do this?
I don't think they do. I think this is this isn't Mark Andreessen. This is Ben Horowitz, who was on the board. So Ben Horowitz actually
Mark Andreessen is the friend of Trump.
Yes, and I'm relatively sure that Ben Horowitz is the Democrat donor.
Stop. Is that true? Is
it seriously,
that simple?
Like he was one of the liberals up until like 2024. He supported Kamala Harris.
Oh my God. Is it really this simple?
And I don't know, but
anyway.
But
I like that.
I love that it's a start.
You know what? I'm going to vote for that one because we vote for Mackenzie too much.
Let's just change it up.
And I just like the fact that this. You're right. This is opening a can of worms that should be discussed.
I can't wait. I really hope someone takes us up on look at the data and start suing.
Hey,
sending it to DOJ.
We'll work with you. Use the database. Yeah, we can help you with that.
All right. All right. Let's do some assholes. We haven't done any yet.
Yeah.
All right. We already talked about L3Harris, oust the CEO after the investigation into his conduct. My assholes are Bill Brown and Robert Millard, two people who are not the CEO of L3Harris, and whose names you wouldn't know. And let's get to who they are.
Yeah.
You got to start with a history lesson. So Chris Kubasik. Kubasik. He was the CEO who got ousted. He was hired in 2015, and this is about 2 years after Lockheed's disastrous firing of him.
Yeah, he learned his lesson.
He learned his lesson after 2 years.
He's not going to do it again.
Walking through the hills by himself. He's never going to do it again. He was hired as the COO and president of L3. Mm-hmm. This is before L3 and Harris combined. So the presiding CEO of L3 was a man named Michael Strianese. He was the chair from 2008, the CEO from 2006. So you got a CEO chair situation. He's hiring a new COO and president. You have to know that this is a board level decision along with the CEO, but the CEO does all the work, right? Strianese is basically saying that's my guy. And the board is probably just saying, sure. The important names from the board to remember here are the Nom Committee, Ann Dunwoody, Vincent Pagano Jr., and Hugh Shelton. Okay. Those are the ones who probably would have looked at this and said, cool.
Why do you say why them?
Because they were that was the nomination committee of the board. So they're likely to be looking at it. But there's two other names to know. One is Robert Millard, who is up for Asshole of the Week. He was the chair of MIT. He was at Lehman Brothers until it collapsed. He was a managing director there. Yeah. So a solid history.
Role model, yeah.
He was on the board of L3 since 1997, and he was the lead independent director of the time. He'd been there for a solid 20 years, 18 years.
Super independent.
And Lloyd Newton, who was the only person of color on this board. He was the token black guy.
It looks like they have one person of color and one woman. They're really taking
that's
tokenism
correct.
To
one
a great level.
Person of color, one woman, and he was a black U.S. Air Force general. He joined the board in 2012. Yeah. So those are the two. He joined after Strianese is the CEO. So he's a Strianese pick, right? Okay. In 2018, Kubasik is named the CEO of L3 Technologies. Michael Strianese steps down. He retires. And Kubasik is named CEO. So literally he's been there for 3 years and they name him CEO, which suggests to me they brought him in to be the CEO. Yes, of course. Right?
Absolutely.
That's the succession. That's how you're supposed to think. Everyone on the board is exactly the same. So the whole board at this point stamps him in. You're the new CEO. And this is after he was
stamps them in,
ousted.
yeah.
After he was ousted at Lockheed Martin for sexual harassment, for sexual misconduct, I should say, not harassment, misconduct, for being with a subordinate. In 2019, L3 and Harris merge. Kubasik is named to the board of L3Harris, the combined company, and he's named COO and president of the company.
Of the new entity.
And Bill Brown is the CEO and chair.
Got it. Okay.
Of L3Harris.
Got it.
So now we have Bill Brown and Robert Millard, my two assholes. Surviving the board merger, because the boards merged too, are Thomas Corcoran, Robert Millard, Lloyd Newton, and Louis Kramer. So Millard and Newton stick around, and Kramer and Corcoran get to stick around too.
Yeah, I mean, Millard's never going to go away.
Millard sticks around in June of 2021. Kubasik becomes the CEO.
Okay.
And Bill Brown moves to executive chair.
Clearly,
and guess who's on the nominating committee that chooses the new CEO? And Kubasik is chosen by Robert Millard and Lloyd Newton, who is the chair of the nominating committee at the time.
Okay.
Newton, you can't do anything about. Newton retires.
Yeah.
And is gone. But you can do something about Bill Brown, who chose his successor in Kubasik, and Robert Millard, the long tenured since 1997. This is going on 30 years. Robert Millard has been on the board. Bill Brown is on the board of Becton Dickinson now, even though he retired. And Robert Millard is on the board of Green Dot Corp.
Yeah, they're currently on the board?
Yeah, currently on boards.
Why am I
Bill
not
Brown
seeing
currently
them?
on the board of Becton Dickinson.
Oh, okay, okay.
Robert Millard currently on the board of Green Dot Corp.
Got it.
iHeartMedia and Evercore. And Green Dot and Evercore, he's on the nominating committee. So basically what I'm saying is a guy who was willing to overlook sexual harassment not once but twice for two different CEO positions when he was on the board of these companies. And there's no way that you don't know that this is going on. We know, like from you pulled reports about how the women at L3Harris have been talking about this for years.
Yeah, from the very unwoke reporting of the Wall Street Journal. So this is gossip.
These aren't
magazine.
like hidden. If you ask 7 questions of 7 employees, you'd probably know that this has happened.
Well, it's
Robert
even worse than the what you just have a relationship with a subordinate, because the women were telling each other, "Don't be left alone with him.
Don't be alone." Right.
That suggests something pretty nefarious.
Something way worse. Robert Millard is on the nominating committee of 2 other companies right now. And this is his way of nominating CEOs. Not to mention he's on the board of iHeartMedia, where I looked this up. iHeartMedia, he was brought into the board. He's only been there for a year or two, but over the last 3 years, iHeartMedia had an executive who went on a racial slur rant in a car, groped the driver of the car. Ooh. The company's been sued for gender and wage discrimination, and a radio host that the company hosted, that's hired by the company, was accused of quote severe harassment. Ooh. So they put on Robert Millard to the board.
I know we're still in talks about what kind of creative things that we're going to be adding to the new platform. What kind of lists and tools. I know we're working on a CEO hot seat list, which CEOs might be in danger. You have mentioned a lot of directors over the past few years that should be targeted for bad behavior like this. And then you're asking people to vote them off of other boards. We have to create that list too, like a watch list, because, people are simply not going to remember this if they've listened to the show one time. We'd have to create these lists.
Yeah, vote. It's really simple to vote against Robert Millard, and when he pisses and moans why, you can say you backed Chris Kubasik despite the fact that he was a serial sexual harasser.
Yeah, just say there's still a thing called
two
ethics.
separate companies where you were on the board.
Remember that
now
ethics
you're on the
course
nominating
you took
committee.
at MBA?
You're on the nominating committee of 2 other boards.
Yeah.
How do we know you're not going to do it again? Your track record
of course
sucks.
you'll do it again.
We're voting against.
All right, let's move on. That's the first assholiest.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Dario Amodi.
He is the Anthropic dude.
Anthropic CEO, president. I saw this headline. Anthropic prepares super voting power for founders as it readies for mega IPO.
This was on my early list as a possible story of the week, but I thought you were going to laugh at me because it hasn't happened yet. And also, I was confused because I thought this is a public benefit corporation. So how is this
That
possible?
is correct. That's why he's an asshole. Like this is a public benefit corporation. Let me read to you what a public benefit corporation is required to do. The board of a public benefit corporation. Benefit corporations, directors and officers operate the business with the same authority and behavior as a traditional corporation, but are required to consider the impact of their decisions not only on shareholders, but also on employees, customers, the community, and the local and global environment.
This is my dream version of stakeholder capitalism.
We just had a situation where Delaware ruled that the shareholder, the board of what was the company? I can't remember. It was like Revlon or something, like L'Oreal. I don't remember. It was like a retail company. They actually could refuse a merger even if it was better for shareholders because it was a public benefit corporation and they couldn't just consider shareholders. They actually ruled like that is legal.
Yes.
So let me ask you something. This is the board of the public benefit corporation of Anthropic. It is Dario Amodi himself, right? Yeah. Daniela Amodi, his
sister.
His sister.
That doesn't seem like a
problem.
Who's
the president of the of Anthropic. Yasmin Razavi, who's a VC, managing partner at a venture capital firm. Crypto and prediction markets is really what she invests in.
We need that on the board, sure.
Reed Hastings.
Oh, drug company man.
Yeah, Netflix,
kingpin.
Chris Liddell, who's an ex-Trump White House deputy secretary. Vas Narasimhan, who's from Novartis. Which one of those is the public benefit corporation director?
Yeah, good question. I guess that would be nobody. Maybe there's one movie, maybe like on Netflix that talked about the environment. Maybe that's
they probably bought the rights to
We don't have to go too deeply into this.
Earth.
We don't have to go too deeply in this because this is all speculation. We don't know what the voting rights will be. We don't know what the actual corporate governance structure.
No, we don't.
We do know that they're going to IPO soon, probably before OpenAI. But what's weird about this company too is that there is a shadow board.
Yeah, like OpenAI's,
that controls the board. Like they have the ultimate voting right. So we'll unwind all this when it actually comes out. But to your point, they are subverting the idea of a public benefit corporation every way they can. It looks like this is nonsense. They're just shoving power into the hands of a few. That's what they're doing. Which is not the point, as you pointed out. And they're the ones who voluntarily created a public benefit corporation. By the way, this was not like forced upon them.
Well, that's what. So
just
the
like OpenAI
thing.
This is just like them trying to fire Sam Altman at OpenAI. It's almost
the super majority thing drives me nuts in and of itself. In part because there's a quote I'm going to read later, that about corporate suffrage, and it flies directly in the face of what the SEC actually was built to do. Corporate suffrage, but that isn't what made me think of these as assholes. Who on this board, the Public Benefit Corporation board,
who is that representative?
Is a fucking Public Benefit Corporation director. Like, which one? His sister? His sister's the best one? The Nepo sister?
Crypto and prediction market investor.
Unbelievable.
All right, let's move on.
All right, number 3.
I'm getting upset. Yeah, last asshole of the week.
Paul Atkins, SEC chair.
You like this one. You like this one.
He's driving me fucking nuts. And he spoke before us at CII. I wish I'd asked, like, he didn't take questions. Remember, he refused to take questions?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not taking any questions.
Foreshadowing to one of your headlines of the week. Yeah. Paul Atkins is he's like the Ron Swanson of the SEC now. He just like doesn't care.
I like Ron Swanson. Swanson had a moral center.
But that was a TV show, Matt. That was a comedy.
Yeah, correct. It was written. But the headline was SEC will stop responding to no action requests entirely. You already talked about it, so I won't talk about it. But what made me put him up here is what they actually wrote in the statement. In the statement, he wrote, quote, in order to focus division resources on the review of the Securities Act and Exchange Act filings, including those reviews that are statutorily required, yada, 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 the staff.
Wait, he's blaming the resources?
Resources. He's basically saying
we're back to the point where companies said we can't deal with shareholder proposals because it costs too much and it takes too much effort.
It's such gaslighting. We don't have enough resources for this. We can't do it. We also can't do it.
That's the reason?
They also can't do it. They're no longer going to be looking at investment managers and their proxies anymore. Proxies for, shareholder proposals submitted to them. But here's a quote from 1934 House of Representatives report that set up the SEC.
Okay.
Fair corporate suffrage is an important right that should attach to every equity security bought on a public exchange. So basically, the SEC was set out to ensure that voting rights exist. For corporate voting rights exist.
Isn't 1934 like an age of America that MAGA types like Paul Atkins, they're
okay
with?
Do we like that?
We like pre-Jim Crow stuff. We like Jim Crow era. Okay, keep going.
But
I should say pre-civil rights era stuff.
They said the proposed bill gives the commission power to control the conditions under which proxies may be solicited with a view to preventing the recurrence of abuses which have frustrated the free exercise of the voting rights of stockholders.
Right.
So Paul Atkins literally is saying, like, we don't need these shareholder proposals.
Despite the fact that they're introduced by stockholders.
His same SEC just plans to remove the best price rule. They just put out for comment removing the best price rule, which allows investors to get the best price when they buy a security. Like, so you go buy a stock, there's 18 exchanges. The rules are now every broker has to offer the best price on that. Not anymore, not under Paul Atkins. Let's get rid of that. You can offer whatever price you want if you're the broker, and couple this with the fact that they're deeply embedded in crypto. They're all about like opening up the crypto markets where there's no rights.
That's what Robinhood is pushing for this, right? There's like 24/7 tokenized trading.
The guy running the fucking SEC, whose job it is to stop abuses of the free exercise of voting rights of stockholders, has literally cauterized all shareholder rights. There are none. You got rid of all of them.
Well, this was during the FDR era. And what did FDR know?
And frankly, investors have themselves at least partially blamed for this, because if you voted for directors and shareholder proposals, since you have the right, if you actually voted out directors, if you actually voted for shareholder proposals that gave you increased governance, if you actually did the fucking work when you had the chance, they couldn't have taken it away. Now he's using the fact that you don't vote on it as an excuse to get rid of it. Like, nobody votes on these anyway. It's too onerous for the companies. Get rid of it. So you're welcome, your shareholders who aren't voting. Your lack of voting has left you with no rights. Congratulations.
Well,
those are your three.
So Paul Atkins, SEC, Dario Mode from Anthropic, and
the directors, Bill Brown and Robert Millard. Millard in particular for overseeing L3's
on this Kubasik one. Paul Atkins has become evergreen, so he could be asshole of every week or month, whenever he wants. So I'm going to skip over him. Dario, I'm going to wait for Dario and all of Anthropic until we get the actual structure, because I have a feeling then I'm going to be irate. So I'm going to go right to for me, I love good old fashioned corporate governance assholes. So it's definitely Bill Brown and Robert Miller. Week. And I'm thankful that you pulled this out because these people need to be flagged. I mean, they need to be voted against. So let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Headlines, winners, predictions, and thank God we can get out of here.
We're actually making good time this week for the first time ever.
I'm tired though. I'm tired.
I got 2 of them.
I got 2 also. Mine are just headlines. I do the I do the rule.
I know. I don't care. I'm gonna go first. My first one is just a headline, only because I just love how stupid it is. Okay, bear with me on this one. Just stick to it and listen. I'm going to focus. I'm going to try to focus. Popular breakfast chain closes half its restaurants.
That could be anything.
But think about that. Think about it. Popular breakfast chain closes half its restaurants.
So if it's popular, why is it closing half its restaurants?
All right. Moving on. My real one is
that's so dumb.
My real one. The man leading Trump's return to office charge for government workers says he filmed a video in front of a blank wall to avoid work from home suspicion. So this is the first employee hired by Andreessen Horowitz. Later became a partner. His name is Scott Kapoor. Was at home. He was in his bedroom. But he didn't want to make it look like his bedroom because his bedroom looks like his bedroom. So he went outside to find a wall. This was unearthed because, he was caught on tape talking about it. I mean, does this not say it all?
That's fabulous.
I mean, that says it all. All right, what do you got?
All right, I got 2.
First employee of Andreessen Horowitz.
Well, Andreessen Horowitz, you can work from home, can't you? I don't know. Maybe you can.
If you're not a woman, you can. All right, go ahead.
Is that the rule?
Do they have women there? I don't even know.
I just giggled out loud when I read this. Flock, you know the company Flock?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, so Flock makes these
dystopian
cameras that are filming everybody everywhere. And actually, law enforcement, there's been a lot of stories about law enforcement is using Flock cameras set up in municipalities like towns to track their ex-lovers and do just kind of cyber stalk people. Here's a headline. Flock says it's, quote, taking a break from responding to media requests.
Yeah, they're getting pounded and I guess they're taking a break. Yeah, why do your job? Why do your job?
I like that they announce that we're going to take a break from this. This is a lot for us.
They're overwhelmed.
I mean, we're doing horrible things, but we're gonna take a break for now. And my second one is Eric Schmidt, the ex Google CEO. Yes. Eric Schmidt.
Now he's into AI war and defense and stuff, I think.
Yeah, but this is the headline instead. Eric Schmidt is selling his super yacht.
Yeah.
So we see these headlines all the time. Who's this for?
I don't know.
Who is this for? Who reads this?
I now tag these usually as OK billionaire in our tagging system, but there are so many headlines about yachts. Why?
Is this only for billionaire yacht buyers?
Who is it for?
Who is this for? All right, who won the week?
My winner is the women at L3Harris who shared concerns about the CEO's behavior years before ouster. They got their look.
They got there.
I know it's been a rough road, and no one listens to you. But at least it happened. At least he's gone. I
got there.
I guarantee. We have both worked in massive corporations. This will have an effect on the women there. They're not going to say it out loud. They'll probably say it with each other. But they're going to be relieved. So I think that's a true win.
I would love to think that they're going to get a new
apology
kind of culture, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen. My winner is a guy named Joshua Raymer.
Sure. Who the hell is that?
He's the CEO of People Return. He's somebody who I've talked to a few times.
Oh, okay.
People Return is one of the last vestiges of DEI data in the U.S. They basically focus on.
I thought it was illegal. You're allowed to do that.
He's one of the last people. He sends out a newsletter. They have some interesting data. I've never actually used their data, but I know it to be interesting. But But he sent out a newsletter that did the most free float thing I've ever seen anyone other than us do.
Go ahead. What did he do?
He tracked a single Getty image across 6 different company reports.
Is it like people of color or women?
It is image 13258766463. The title of it is Young Boy Leaping into Father's Arms in Playground.
Okay, so it's playing on that, yeah.
It is like slightly ethnic looking people. Yeah. And he tracked it across sustainability reports and some websites for the companies Danaher, Crown Castle, TD Ameritrade, Capital One,
oh my God,
CSL Plasma, and Toyota Europe.
Amazing.
These companies have nothing to do with each other.
Amazing.
They chose the exact same Getty image to show how sustainable and loving and family friendly they are. And he put that in his
good work, Joshua.
Yeah,
I mean, you're copying our technique, but it's fine.
I love it. I love it. Predictions.
Mine's obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. The Meritocro Manosphero.
The Manitocracy.
Hires Christopher Kubasik again without any pushback from anyone or anything or anybody or, just going to happen again. And it's like, whoops.
Man, I'm excited. Can we be part of the Manitocracy? How do we get to be the Manitocracy?
We don't.
Okay. Mine is really dark and horrible, actually. Okay. We decide that since everyone is trying to make companies immune from climate change, New Zealand just announced... You mean
from climate change lawsuits?
Lawsuits. Right. New Zealand just announced they are blocking lawsuits for any...
You see how fast the pendulum swings from remember we talked about Jacinda
Ardern, and now it's immediately backwards. That we just going to, in the spirit of Chris Kubasik, make CEOs personally immune for any behavior while they're CEO.
I don't think that prediction is so far-fetched.
That's why it's sad and horrible.
I don't think it's so far-fetched.
That's our Hazelnut Rallis.
Yeah, who is that?
Yeah, Damien to his friends. I almost called you Damien, but nobody calls you Damien.
You can call me Damien.
Except your mom. I'm your analyst hole, Matt Mascardi. We are Free Float. Come back next week when we have a whole slate of shows lined up. We're going to start ramping up slowly, but mostly the big news is freeflowanalytics.com will see an entire shift on September 1st. It will be a brand new website. It will have so much data.
Buy some data.
It's so much of it is free. It's psychotic how much is free.
But don't just use the free stuff. Give us a break.
Yeah. You want more access? You can email us, and it's cheap. We're doing these things on the cheap, unless you're an institution, in which case we're going to rip your eyeballs out. That's all we got. Come back next time. Until then, goodbye.